But Justin, you didn't tell me to go eat some Skittles, and now I feel like there's no balance in the universe. Well, I got to tell you, there is nothing on that video that I can disagree with. You're absolutely right. If people want to see more original horror, they got to go out and show that they want more original horror. Um, Sometimes, uh, when our when the box office receipts don't reflect it, then the studios start thinking other things and saying, well, we need to appeal to younger crowds. We need to make more PG rated horror because those are the ones we're going to see these movies. And then us, the long standing horror fans, some of us sit there and we grumble and we piss and moan about what's out there. And well, where were you when the stuff was being released? When I remember everybody losing their minds when the Dawn of the Dead remake was announced. I still remember to this day how everybody just lost it. They were just like, oh, you can't remake an original movie like Dawn of the Dead. It's a classic. You can't do that. And just, they completely lost it. It got released. I liked it. But then the diehard purists were like, I'm not even going to go see that. Forget that. I'm not going to go. I'm not going to support a remake of George Romero's classic. Okay, point taken. But George Romero came out of the shadows and made a fourth installment to his series, Land of the Dead. Who went to see it? Who went to see it? The box office receipts were terrible. Where were all these people crying for original stuff and don't remake this and don't remake that? Where were they? No one went to the theaters to see it and support an original movie by the master of zombie movies. So you're absolutely right. I mean, if they start seeing the receipts reflect that people want to see these movies and want to go and they flock to see the original stuff, then they're going to try and make it bigger and better and tweak it up and so on and so forth. I don't think Laid to Rest ever made it to the theater, but that in itself, that was a great point because that's a crying shame that a movie like Laid to Rest didn't make it to the theaters. That movie I had never even heard of. I just saw the box there at Walmart and I was like, And I have to tell you, when I saw the cover to it, I thought it just looked like, I don't know, it looked a little. I can't really say it. I don't want to say cheesy because I use that term a little too much. But like cliche. It had like the skull and the cross. But I'm like, oh, one of those movies. All right, whatever. And then I saw the back of it, and I saw the guy with the silver skull mask on. And I'm like, oh, brother, are you kidding me? But then something possessed me to buy it, and I watched it, and it's one of my favorite movies now. I'm all about Chrome Skull. Can't wait for part 2. But see, part 2 is going to be another straight-to-video release. And why? There have been some points made about downloading. Pilot Error said something about downloading movies. Stop downloading these movies because, understandably, that it doesn't reflect that people want these movies. At least they're not going to take that number down and go, wow, look, X amount of people downloaded this movie. This must be a very popular movie. No, they're saying, well, get their addresses and their IP addresses. We're going to sue all these people. That's all that's for. So, in short, I guess if everybody's, lining up to steal this movie, which basically that's what it comes down to, they're lining up to steal it, then they're basically just taking away from the chance of seeing more original stuff. Now, as far as the stuff that has been released that is original, excuse me, I don't know. It seems like it's getting harder and harder to please some fans. Like, I know the Saw series took a big kick in the ass because everybody was kind of like, oh, another Saw movie. Oh, another Saw movie. And it was like, yeah, but like you're saying, it's original. At least it's not another remake. It's not another, it's not another remake of a classic. It's its own thing, and of course, not everybody's going to like everything. I'm sure there were people that didn't really care for the Friday the 13th movies. Also, if we support original horror and a sequel is to be spawned, maybe it will be spawned quicker, sooner. Now, I know sometimes that might be a bad thing, but look at the Friday the 13th series and think of the time span between each part. Okay? Between Friday the 13th 1, 2, 3, and 4. It was kind of, there was a pacing there. It was like a couple of years would pass, and then you have another one, a couple of years, and another one. Phantasm, on the other hand, came out in 1978, and then the sequel didn't happen till like 1980 something, like almost 13, 14 years later. By the time Phantasm 2 rolled around, people went to go see it, but it was mostly the fans of the original. As far as a new audience, I'm sure a lot of people didn't even know what it was. So, if you want to keep people, if you want to keep their attention on an original movie, then I think if there's sequels to be had, the sequels have to come out a little more frequently so that you don't lose anybody, or it's not too hard to catch up to the first one. And again, studios aren't going to pour money into a sequel if the first one didn't do so great. They will pan it. That's it. They'd rather make money on something. They'd rather put money into something that they know they're going to make their dollar back on. And right now, that just seems to be remakes. It's remakes of an established franchise that made its bones back in the 80s and 90s. Will definitely be remade. There's no getting around it. So, yeah, I can't disagree with what you're saying. If we stop seeing the original movies, or if we keep panning the original movies, it's like getting, when you're a kid and you get a plate of food, you don't like what's on your plate. Nah, I don't want that. It's not a guarantee that anybody's going to go back and fix you something different. They just may not give you anything at all. You may go to bed hungry. So, same thing with the horror franchises and stuff. If you don't like what they're putting out, you can go ahead and complain about it and not see it and whatever. That's totally up to you. But then they just may stop making them altogether. I mean, go see it and then say, I went to see your movie and this is what I didn't like about it. They'll say, oh, look, this movie made money, but we could be making more money because we should be doing this better. The studios, that's their only driving thing. That's the only thing. The only thing they have going on is how much money they're going to make. Whereas we are into it for the love of the genre and the love of the movies and stuff like that. We're the ones who go to the conventions. We're the ones who go to the video stores and rent these movies and buy them and buy the posters and all that. The studios are basically just there for the money. So, in this case, money definitely does talk. When you talk, they listen. We need more studios, more big name studios run by horror fans, I think. An actual person who runs a movie studio who is a definite fan of the horror genre. I think that would be awesome. But Justin, you made some excellent points there, and I agree wholeheartedly. As for the time being, I'm not really on Facebook. I'm kind of giving that a break, but when I'm back on, I'll definitely check out your page. I definitely want to be a part of that. And yeah, everyone, take a good listen to what Justin's saying, because he speaks gospel here, and you're going to hear a lot of opinions come up because of this video, because of his video about keeping horror alive. And listen to these opinions, because they're validated. They're valid opinions. They're valid, you know, in so many ways, because these are coming from the heart. These are coming from the hearts of horror fans. So follow that lead, man, and like Justin said, keep horror alive. And allow me to lend a hand here. You guys are awesome. You guys rock. Go eat some Skittles.